Welcome back, guys. Today we're going to break down what I believe is the ultimate budget Glock 19. Stick around. Alright guys, so we're going to break this build down. I want to give you an idea of what it costs to put something like this together. We'll go part by part. Also want to get into its performance and kind of how it evolved to what it is here, what you see here today. Before I get into that, I do want to make an ultimate build series with different builds that I've put together to hopefully help some of you guys that might be interested in putting something similar together. If that's something that you're interested in, let me know in the comments below. All right, so let's jump into this guy. Starting with the frame, this is a Combat Armory frame that I picked up as a stripped frame. I actually did a review of this frame. It was the first video I posted up on my channel. So if you guys want to go and check that out, I warn you, it is pretty bad. But I'll link it up here so you guys can watch it if you want to. But the frame, it came stripped. It did come with a locking block, and I paid $40 for the frame, which is a pretty good price for a stripped frame. I did add a Magpul Magwell to it. That was like 20 bucks. And then the lower parts kit, it's a Glock OEM lower parts kit that I paid $95 for. Everything has worked very well. I've had zero issues with it. Now the slide I did buy as a complete slide from Palmetto Armory. It came with the barrel, the firing pin, the extractor, the plunger, the back plate, all the parts, recoil, spring, guide rod assembly. Came with the iron sights. These are blacked out iron sights that have a lower third co-witness with your optic, and it did come already cut for an RMR. So for this complete slide at the time, I paid $285 for it. So adding all that up together, I believe it comes out to like $440, which is not bad considering you're getting a Glock 19 Gen 3 for less than $500, and it's got an optic cut on it. Right, so as far as performance, this guy has performed honestly flawlessly since I've put it together. I have thousands of rounds through this thing, and I've had literally zero malfunctions, zero issues with it. So I actually use this as my EDC. This is what I carry. It's just been 100% reliable since I put it together. So one thing I forgot to mention is I did change the firing pin to a Glock OEM firing pin that I had laying around. I just wanted kind of that extra reliability of it being a Glock piece. Not that I've had any issues with previous Palmetto Armory firing pins, but I just wanted to do that swap since I had it laying around anyways. Like I said, it's performed perfectly, thousands of rounds through it, zero malfunctions, zero problems. It's super accurate. I love the ergonomics of the frame because it's pretty much a Glock 3 frame, right? It just has different grip texturing on it, but it feels very nice. You can get a good hold on it, good master grip. It's good to go. But it didn't exactly start off this way. It actually started off with a Glock 19 Gen 5. This was my EDC for a while. I did have the TLR-7 on this, and that was my EDC that I carried for quite some time. It just got to a point where I wanted to upgrade to an optic, and this slide, as you can see, it does not have an optic cut. So I started researching for companies that I can send my slide out to and get it milled for an optic. And I found that the average price for that service was around $300. I came across the Palmetto Armory slides, and as I mentioned, I was able to pick up this slide complete with an optic cut for less than $300. So it just made sense. It made more sense to pick up a slide that had the optic cut and I get a complete different slide and put it on there. Now it wasn't this slide, actually it was their extreme carry cut slide. It was just their basic slide without any windows or slide cuts or anything, but it did come with the iron sights, the barrel and everything else, and the optic cut, and it was less than $300. So at the time it just made sense. So I swapped that out. Although this is a Gen 3 slide and this is a Gen 5 lower, you can put it on the Gen 5 lower. You just need to change out the back plate. So if you swap this back plate onto that, it'll fit perfectly. Now the other thing that you'll have is a gap, because if you notice, the Gen 5 frame is wider at the bottom than the Gen 3, where the slide meets the dust cover. So Strike Industries sells an adapter that you can put on the Gen 3 slide to fill in that gap that you would have otherwise on the Gen 5 lowers, and they're fairly inexpensive. So I bought one of those as well, and that's pretty much what I ran for another while as my EDC. Then Palmetto State Armory started coming out with different designs, slide designs. So I picked up another one of those, and that's this guy right here. And I ran this for a while with the Gen 5 frame, and I had swapped out the Trijicon Optic onto this one. And I ran this one for a while. And then eventually, that's when I saw this one, and I picked this one up. And this is the latest slide that I've purchased from Palmetto State Armory. At one point, I had two slides laying around without a frame. I basically had my stock Glock slide, and I had this other slide laying around. The other slide, the extreme carry cut slide I mentioned earlier, I actually ended up selling that one, and I purchased this one with that. So at one point I had this slide and this slide just laying around without a frame. And then I came across the Combat Armory frames. I noticed on their website they were just $40. So I picked up two of those, and I picked up a pair of lower parts kits, and I slapped it all together, and I ended up now with these three. You'll notice that these two are almost identical. They have the same frame, same Glock internals, the slide is Palmetto State Armory, same light. The only difference is basically the optic. My idea behind this gun was I was going to use this as my training gun, as my dry fire gun. So I picked up a fairly inexpensive optic that closely resembles the Trijicon in shape and size, so that I can run this as like my dry fire training gun, so that I wouldn't put wear and tear on my EDC, right? Because why would you want to do that, right? So this gun I really only use, I rarely shoot this live fire. I mainly use this for my dry fire gun. This has worked out great. For under $500, you can't go wrong. It's been super reliable, super accurate, and yeah. So if maybe you're looking to upgrade to an optic on your Glock that doesn't have an optic cut on it, it might be a less expensive option for you to just pick up, even if it's just a stripped slide. And then you can, if you have a Gen 3 Glock that you want to upgrade to an optic, you don't have a cut, you can get a stripped slide from Palmetto State Armory and just swap all your parts, and you're going to end up paying 100 something. I think that is what they're running now. I'm pretty sure they're under $200, which is usually cheaper than sending out your slide to get milled. So that's just a thought there. So that's pretty much it, guys. I hope this video has helped some of you guys out there. If you have any questions, make sure to leave them in the comments below. And as usual, until the next one, God bless, stay safe.